Let's dive into cloud native today.
Okay.
Everyone's talking about it. But what does it really mean to actually build for the cloud? It's got to be more than just using someone else's servers, right?
Yeah, for sure. It's a totally different way of thinking about how we create software. Almost like a whole new development philosophy.
Okay, a new philosophy. I like it. But where did this whole cloud native thing even come from?
Well, it's been evolving for a while. Think back to the early internet days. We had those massive applications. Huge, hard to scale, even harder to update.
Right, the monolithic apps?
Exactly. Then came virtualization, which was better, but it still had its issues.
So instead of one giant machine, you had a bunch of smaller ones, but it was still clunky.
Yeah, pretty much. But then
Oh,
containers changed
oh
everything.
yeah, containers.
Suddenly, we could package apps with everything they needed, made them super portable and easy to deploy anywhere.
Like they were ready to go wherever, like those little travel kits for toiletries.
Huh, yeah, kind of like that. And that's what led to microservices, breaking those big apps down into smaller pieces, little services that could be developed and scaled on their own.
So instead of one chef trying to make a five-course meal, you have a whole team.
Each focused on their specialty.
Makes total sense.
And that's where cloud native comes in. It's about using all these things, containers, microservices, automation, agile, to build apps that are made for the cloud from the ground up.
Okay, I'm seeing the bigger picture now. So it's not just about where the software is. It's about how it's designed, managed, how it grows. But where do we actually use this cloud-native magic? Is it for every app out there?
Well, the applications are pretty diverse. Think about those giant e-commerce sites, the ones handling millions of transactions every day, or streaming services that get content to your devices without a hitch. They're all using cloud native principles.
Wow, that's impressive. But is it just for those huge tech companies?
Not at all. We're seeing cloud native used everywhere, from healthcare to finance, even government.
So it really is changing how we think about software. But within this cloud-native world, are there different categories, or is it all just kind of mixed together?
It's definitely not one size fits all. There are different patterns and strategies. It all depends on what the app needs to do.
Okay, so let's break it down a bit. What are some of the key categories in cloud-native?
Well, there's serverless computing. Developers can just focus on their code. No need to worry about the infrastructure behind it.
Something a dream for developers. What else?
You've got container orchestration. Platforms like Kubernetes help manage and scale all those containers.
So Kubernetes is like the conductor of this cloud-native orchestra.
Uh-huh. I like that, keeping everything in sync.
Right.
And of course, there are tons of tools for things like monitoring, logging, security. That's crucial to keep those apps running smoothly and safely.
Sounds like a whole lot to explore. What about the state of the art? Any cutting-edge stuff happening in cloud-native that you're excited about?
Oh, yeah, definitely. Serverless platforms are getting super innovative. Edge computing is huge. And we're seeing AI and machine learning being integrated into cloud native in new ways.
Now that's interesting. Can you give us some real-world examples of how these new technologies are being used?
Sure. Companies are using serverless to build what we call event-driven architectures. The apps react in real time, like when a new customer signs up or a sensor sends data.
It's like the system's always listening and ready to respond.
Exactly. And edge computing is bringing cloud native closer to users, making things like real-time video, IoT, and personalized content possible.
Okay, that's seriously impressive. But with all this innovation, there have to be challenges too, right? Like even in the most advanced cities, things go wrong.
Of course. One of the biggest challenges is finding the right people who get this whole cloud native landscape.
Right, because you need more than just coders, right?
Absolutely. You need people who understand the whole philosophy, people who can design systems that are scalable, resilient, and secure.
So it's like finding architects who can build amazing buildings, but also make sure they can survive an earthquake.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. And then there's the challenge of managing complexity. With all these microservices, it can be tough to see the big picture or to fix problems when they pop up.
Yeah, it's got to be like trying to run a city with millions of moving parts.
You got it. That's why tools for monitoring and observability are essential in the cloud native world.
Okay, so managing complexity is one hurdle. What else?
Security is another big one. In a traditional data center, you have a perimeter to protect. But in a cloud native environment, your apps are spread out across multiple servers, even multiple cloud providers.
So it's like trying to protect a city when people can fly in and out whenever they want.
Exactly. You need a completely different security approach, something built into every part of the app.
So it's not just about locking the front door, but having security everywhere.
You got it. And then there's cost management. Cloud native gives you flexibility and scalability. but it's easy to overspend if you're not careful.
It's like having a credit card with no limit. Tempting to spend freely, but you might regret it later.
Exactly. You need to keep an eye on your cloud usage, make sure you're using resources efficiently, and have a cost control plan.
Like having a city budget and making sure every department is spending wisely.
Precisely. And finally, there's the challenge of cultural change. Adopting cloud native isn't just about the tech. It's about changing how teams work, how decisions are made, how the whole organization functions.
So it's like building a whole new city and a new way of life for the people who live there.
That's a great analogy. You need to embrace agile methods, DevOps, and a culture of continuous learning.
It's not about just following the rules. It's about encouraging people to be innovative and creative.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to ask for help. There's a huge cloud-native community out there. Experts, consultants, open source projects, they can all give you support and guidance.
It's like having friendly neighbors who are willing to lend a hand.
Exactly. Cloud-native can be a big journey, but it's a rewarding one too.
It sounds like the benefits are worth the challenges, as long as you approach it strategically.
Absolutely. Cloud-native isn't just about technology. It's about transforming your business, making it more agile, more innovative, more competitive in this digital world.
Well, I think we've given everyone listening a lot to think about today. From the history of cloud native to the latest trends and challenges, it's clear this is a fast-moving field with the power to change businesses and how we use tech.
I totally agree. And as more companies embrace cloud-native principles, we'll see even more amazing changes in how businesses work and how we interact with technology.
So to wrap up our deep dive into cloud native, what's the key message you want listeners to take away?
I'd say embrace the change, embrace the challenge. Cloud native is not just about the tech, it's about transforming your business, about being more agile, more innovative, and more competitive in the digital age.
It's about building a better future for everyone.
Exactly. It really is about finding the right people with the right skills and mindset.
Right. It's more than just knowing how to code.
Exactly. You need folks who understand this whole cloud native philosophy, people who can think about systems that are scalable, resilient, built to last.
So it's like finding architects who can build a skyscraper that can withstand anything.
Exactly. And then you've got the challenge of managing complexity with microservices. It can be tough to see the big picture, to troubleshoot issues, and make sure everything's playing nice together.
Yeah, it's like trying to manage a city with millions of moving parts, all interconnected.
Exactly. That's why monitoring, logging, observability tools, they're absolutely crucial in this world.
Okay, so managing complexity is a big one. What else?
Security, for sure. In a traditional data center, you've got a clear perimeter to defend.
Right, you can build a wall around it.
Yeah, but in cloud native, your applications are all over the place. Multiple servers, multiple cloud providers even.
So it's like trying to protect a city with walls when everybody's flying in and out on planes.
That's a great analogy. You need a totally different approach to security, one that's baked into every layer of your application.
So you're not just locking the front door, you're securing every nook and cranny.
Exactly. And then there's the whole cost management thing. Cloud native is flexible and scalable, but it's easy to overspend if you're not careful.
It's like having a credit card with no limit, tempting but dangerous.
Exactly. You got to watch your usage, optimize your resources, and have a solid cost control strategy.
It's like managing a city budget. You need to make sure every department is spending wisely.
Precisely. And lastly, there's the cultural change. Adopting cloud native isn't just about the tech. It's about changing how teams work, how decisions get made, how the whole organization operates.
So it's not just building a new city, it's about creating a whole new way of life for the people who live there.
That's it. You need to embrace agile DevOps, a culture of continuous learning, always experimenting.
It's about empowering people to try new things, to take risks, to learn from their mistakes.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to ask for help. The cloud native community is amazing. Lots of experts, consultants, open source projects that can guide you.
So it's like having a network of friendly neighbors always willing to lend a hand.
Precisely, cloud native can be a challenging journey, but it's so rewarding.
It sounds like the benefits are definitely worth the challenges if you go about it the right way.
Absolutely. Cloud native isn't just about technology. It's about transforming your business, making it more agile, more innovative, more competitive.
Okay, so we've talked about the history of cloud native, the different categories, the challenges, the benefits. But what about the Cloud Native Computing Foundation, the CNCF? What's their role in all of this?
The CNCF, they're like the governing body for the cloud native world, promoting open source innovation and collaboration.
So they're kind of like the city council for this cloud native city, setting the rules and fostering the community.
Exactly. They host those massive KubeCon events, which are like the annual town hall meetings for the cloud native community.
I've heard about KubeCon. Sounds like the place to be if you want to be on the cutting edge.
Absolutely. And they oversee a whole bunch of projects. Kubernetes, Prometheus Envoy, you name it. These are the essential services that keep the cloud native city running smoothly.
So they're like the city's public works department, keeping the lights on the water flowing and the roads maintained.
Exactly. The CNCF plays a vital role in nurturing the cloud native ecosystem, making sure it stays open, innovative, and accessible to everyone.
It's amazing how far cloud native has come in such a short time, from those early days of virtualization to the sophisticated platforms and tools we have today. It's a testament to the power of open source and collaboration.
Couldn't agree more. And as more organizations embrace cloud native, we're going to see even more transformative changes in how businesses operate and how we use technology.
So as we wrap up our exploration of cloud native, what's the one key takeaway you'd like to leave our listeners with?
Embrace the change, embrace the challenge. Cloud native is not just about technology, it's about transforming your business, becoming more agile, more innovative, more competitive in the digital age.
It's about building not just a better city, but a better future for everyone who lives in it.
Precisely. Yeah, it's about building a future where businesses can really thrive. And, the cool thing is cloud native isn't a one-size-fits-all thing.
Right. It's not like a cookie cutter solution.
Exactly. It's a whole toolbox. You can pick and choose what works for you.
So it's adaptable.
Yeah, totally. And the other exciting thing is that it's always changing, always evolving. There's always something new on the horizon.
Okay, so let's talk about that. What are some of those emerging trends in cloud natives that you're keeping an eye on?
Well, one thing that's really getting a lot of attention is WebAssembly, or WASM for short. It's basically a portable code format that lets you run code written in different languages.
Different languages.
Yeah, like Rust, Go, you name it, and you can run it right in a web browser or on a server.
So it's like a universal translator for code. Different languages can finally understand each other.
That's a great analogy. And WASM has the potential to really shake things up in cloud native development.
Yeah.
It could make things even more portable, secure, and faster.
Sounds like a game changer. What else is out there?
Another trend that's gaining traction is GitOps. It's a way of managing your infrastructure and applications using Git.
Git.
Yeah, the version control system. It's like having a blueprint for your whole cloud native system stored in Git. You can track changes rolled back to previous versions and collaborate with others easily.
So it's like having a time machine for your infrastructure. You can always go back to a working version.
Exactly. GitOps brings all the good stuff from version control, like collaboration and automation, to infrastructure management, makes things a lot easier.
Okay, so WebAssembly and GitOps, definitely worth watching. Any other predictions for the future of cloud native?
Well, I think AI and machine learning are going to play an even bigger role in cloud native going forward. Imagine AI helping you optimize your resources, predict problems before they happen, or even automatically fix security issues.
So it's like having an AI assistant that takes care of all the tedious stuff and keeps everything running smoothly.
Exactly. And as AI and ML get better, we're going to see even more creative uses for them in cloud native.
This is all very exciting, but also a bit overwhelming. For someone just starting out in cloud native, what advice would you give them?
My advice would be, don't be afraid to just jump in and experiment. There's a ton of resources out there, online tutorials, open source projects, community forums, you name it.
So it's like exploring a new city, trying different things, talking to the locals, and getting a feel for the place.
Exactly. And don't hesitate to reach out for help. The cloud native community is super helpful and welcoming, always happy to share their knowledge.
It's like having a bunch of friendly tour guides to help you along the way.
Exactly. The journey to cloud native might be challenging, but the payoff is huge. You gain so much in terms of agility, scalability, and innovation.
Well, I think we've covered a lot of ground today, from the fundamentals of cloud native to the cutting edge trends and the challenges along the way. It's clear that this is a field that's constantly pushing the boundaries of what's possible.
Absolutely. It's an exciting time to be involved in cloud native.
And on that note, we'll wrap up this episode. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into cloud native.
It was my pleasure.
And to all our listeners out there, keep learning, keep experimenting, and keep pushing the boundaries of what's possible with cloud native C.